Hunter Biden once again making a fool of himself and his family by, doing what's best for him. As you may or may not have heard, Hunter Biden has been in the news lately for being probably the biggest disappointment a father can have in a child. You know, since my own father would probably think the same about me, though I at least like to think that the fact that I don't do crack or try to sleep with younger children, allegedly, we we could probably get along. Now, in Hunter's case, we seem to be having an issue where he's been using his last name to get into positions of power in foreign companies that Joe Biden had access to. When the Obama administration was in the White House, Joe Biden was in charge of two countries, according to Barack, and that was the Ukraine and China. And it seems to be in both instances, somehow Joe Biden has managed to make himself a wealthy partner in some business dealings there because of his lovely son Hunter. In the first case, we can talk about Burisma, the Ukrainian electric and gas company that Hunter sits on the board of, in which Hunter doesn't speak Ukrainian, he doesn't know anything about gas or electricity, and yet for some reason on the board being paid, I believe it's $50,000 a month or something like that, or something absurd, but more than the average you or me could make in our lifetime. More than that, though, it appears he's been doing this quite a lot, and he has a company in China that was used apparently for a Chinese money laundering scheme, or at least a way for China to put money in for Hunter Biden to get and collect that would eventually go to his father. The New York Post reports that Hunter Biden business partner confirms emails details Joe Biden's push to make millions from China by Michael Goodwin. And I recommend reading these articles because they're being censored on Facebook and Google. So, go to the source guys yourself and please give these articles a read or just give them the clicks, man. They need to make money. And if Twitter and Facebook think they can just make these articles disappear, they're wrong, especially with the power of the people like us. There was something here. In the text message chains that have been released due to Hunter Biden's email, or Hunter Biden's laptop being turned into a computer repair shop and Hunter never going to pick it up, there are some text messages showing that people such as H right here would be referencing Hunter Biden, and then there was that one point where they talk about Joe, who is Joe Biden, the vice president, at least allegedly in this regard. The thing that's probably the most upsetting about this whole thing is this could have all been avoided, but Hunter Biden never went back to pick up his laptop when he dropped it off to be repaired. And it's very upsetting in that regard because this is a complete annihilation of Joe Biden and his attempt to be honest and attempt to be the clear-cut winner for the election. And the fact that we have to sit here now and go through every little bit of information through this laptop because Hunter Biden sat there and let it go and never came to pick up the most incriminating piece of evidence against him. I mean, we're looking at a guy here who, this is a photo we found. This is Hunter Biden allegedly with a crack pipe in his mouth. I mean, this is the same guy who went around and he was caught with, unfortunately, apparently, which was announced that Hunter Biden was caught with probable child pornography on his computer. That's disgusting and gross. And I mean, it appears the Biden family's been doing this forever. In this Politico article, the Biden Inc. page here the website link for it, or the Biden Inc. This shows that Joe's two sons and his brothers all were doing some kind of shady business in the name of the Biden name. It's not the fact that these Bidens independently are doing stuff. Apparently the way it works is that Biden, gives handouts for people who or demands a payout for people he helps in his business dealings. We know for a fact that Joe Biden's brother, you know, would just drop his last name as Biden and get people to invest in him and his company and his ideas. Meanwhile, we have Hunter here who has no experience when it comes to gas or Chinese markets or I mean, I guess the only thing we really know that he knows how to do is be a screw up to his dad. But he's honestly, it's just ridiculous that the stuff that politicians think they can get away with. And this isn't me trying to be nice to Trump or try to help him through, because if Trump's doing bad things, then he needs to be called out on it too. And if his family's getting rich off of him being president, then they need to be called out and face punishment just as much. But we're not going to play a game of what about Trump? What about Biden? No, this is Biden. Biden's messing up here. Now, show me the evidence of Trump doing this, and I'll be more than happy to call out Trump for it. And in fact, I feel like Trump deserves to be called out on a lot of things. He's a very gross, he's a very just nasty kind of guy, and a lot of his family seems very stuck up. So I'm not saying either candidate here is going to be a great choice tonight, but this is just a bombshell. And of course, it's an October surprise bombshell. No doubt in my mind that they've had this for a while, and they just decided to release this right before the election. So by no means is this surprising. But at the same time, we have to acknowledge the immense just severity this could have on the election. And if there is child pornography on that laptop, there is a huge problem. Besides the fact that it's Joe Biden's son could go to jail for that. And it's not going to be some FBI investigation where there's might be some political loyalty and the FBI or the courts will try to help Joe Biden's son because it was given to Delaware's police. So it's not a federal court. It'll be a state court in a federal country, but it won't be federal agents who are running this case. And if this is our election, we have dumpster fire number one, Joe Biden, who can't even remember his own name half the time, and his political adversary, Trump, who's just literally the embodiment of Jabba the Hutt mixed with, I gotta think of something funny here, Jabba the Hutt mixed with, oh come on, who's a stupid character or a grubby character? You know what, Jabba the Hutt works fine by itself, and is yelling like a Tusken Raider. There you go, that would have been funnier. If this is what we have to deal with, this is absolutely ridiculous, and this shouldn't be something this whole election cycle is a joke. 2016, we could have had anybody else, but Republicans didn't want to drop out, so eventually Trump won, and Joe Biden didn't have to be the Democratic nominee. You could have had Andrew Yang. You could have had literally anyone. Bernie Sanders. You could have had Bernie Sanders. I don't even like Bernie Sanders, but I love him way more than I'd ever love Joe Biden. I'd rather have a cognitive, mentally normal president than Orange Man and guy who can't remember his name. I'm sorry, this is ridiculous, it's stupid, and we're all at fault for this, and I blame you guys more, because if it's your fault, then it's not as much as my fault, and then I can feel better about myself. But this is just ridiculous, and we can do better, people. We can do a lot better.